So last week I had an opportunity to sit down with a couple of Syracuse area entrepreneurs, Eric Hinman and Chris Biley. They just opened a new place in Armory Square called Original Grain, which was awesome, but I loved their story because they don't really have a ton of experience being restaurateurs. So we talked about how do you get into a business that you're not an expert in. We talked about building a team, using social media to grow your business before the launch, learning patience as an entrepreneur, and a lot more. All right, so I'm here with Eric Hinman and Chris Biley, two entrepreneurs from Cuse. You're from Cuse originally?
Yeah.
Cuse originally?
Yeah.
And they are the purveyors of Original Grain, which is a really new restaurant in Armory Square in Syracuse. And I was there the other day with my wife and some friends. It was awesome. We had a great experience. You don't have necessarily a background in the restaurant industry. Or starting restaurants. You haven't started restaurants till now. You're a serial restaurateur.
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
Yeah.
But do you have a background in restaurateur?
None.
This is why I wanted to talk to you guys. This is what's so fascinating to me is you're on your second restaurant with no background in restaurateur.
Yeah.
Being a restaurateur. So, so your background is in health and fitness.
My first background's insurance, property and casualty insurance.
No kidding. Okay. And then you were involved with
Software.
What was the business in the tech art?
Software.
Okay.
Rounded.
And
Yeah.
what did Rounded do for people that don't know?
Built mobile applications for clients.
And Chris, you were in sports, right?
I was athletics and education, so
Okay.
I was a head men's lacrosse coach at a Division III college before I got into the restaurant.
Because that's when I first met you, and I'm like, get the hell out of here! This guy's doing restaurants now, so that was interesting. So
yeah, education background and then turned food.
So you did Modern Mall, and then so how did you get involved with Modern Mall? Can I start there?
Yeah, so the idea first spawned off of, and this is while I was still coaching, doing a food truck. And our idea was as simple as, I wrote, a couple menus, put a couple concepts together. We had a really cool name, really cool brand that was sort of developed that, I sketched out on like a cocktail napkin one night with my buddy.
And that was
We decided to do a food truck, and after we sort of went about town looking for trucks and anything else, realized that we'd be just out of our minds to do it in an area that had not really developed that scene yet.
Okay.
We decided to put that on the back burner, and
Okay.
it sort of fizzled out. One thing led to another. We ended up connecting with my former business partners at Modern Mall, and my very close friend Mark Bullis, who owns the Bull and Bear, who was a partner at Modern Malt as well. And, sort of pitched our concept and ideas. They certainly liked that we were younger. We had a lot of energy. We were, full of
piss and vinegar.
Exactly, and that was it. We decided to partner up on it, and yeah.
What was how long from concept to opening did it take you guys?
About a year and some change.
Okay. So I guess what I was really wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time on is the lack of background. But then, we were talking about how you guys did Original Grain. I think a lot of people that I talk about have a vision in their head, but they don't necessarily know if that vision is going to work, and they haven't done a lot of due diligence figuring out if it's going to work. And so when you guys are going into something like Modern Mall, Original Grain, what's your appetite for risk? Do you guys have a big appetite for risk?
I think it's a mix of both.
Okay.
I'll let you answer that first.
Huge appetite for risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so two things that I've found that tend to work well in entrepreneurship: solve your own problems, and if it doesn't exist, create it.
Okay.
So that's what Modern Malt was. That's what Original Grain was for us. It was solving our own problems. We wanted a cool place with California vibes to go to, where we could eat healthy, interact with our friends, and just have a really, really fun atmosphere. It didn't exist, so we created it.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
a risk, but a calculated risk.
Okay.
and
Sure,
that
but conversely, we also, we did our time, and we spent a lot of time together, and a lot of time traveling, and a lot of time, going to restaurants in Santa Monica, and Venice, and New York.
We work in other major cities.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? You guys literally would fly out west and just do reconnaissance, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. It sounds like a lot of fun, right?
It's great.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Just living our lifestyle in other cities and seeing what's out there, and taking that inspiration and bringing it back to Syracuse.
Interesting. What about in terms of, you guys kind of partnered up? One of the things that a lot of people struggle with, and I see this like almost daily, are how do you find a good business partner? What's your experience in working together?
I think you have to find a lot of similarities, but at the same point in time, some differences when it comes to business. Eric and I get along great when it comes to just the similarities that we have when it comes to culture and experience, and the things that we enjoy. And I guess conversely to say, when it comes to business, Eric's really, really good at the branding, the marketing, the advertising, the just getting the name and the brand out there, whereas my sort of strong suit is design, it's operations, it's actually getting the pieces together, creating it, and then pushing it out. I think I think those are the main differences. Do you have any
shared passions, and then skills that complement each other really well? So to the point where very rarely do we ever overlap. I have absolutely no interest in managing the people, and Chris, he probably has some interest in social media, but he allows me to handle that aspect.
So you're handling that in-house?
Yes.
It's really strong. It's really strong. You guys have...
We can thank our customers and the amount of natural light that our windows let in.
Yeah, totally. It's bright.
I wish we could take pictures for credit for the pictures, but it really is our customers that are taking a lot of those pictures that we're reposting, and they're yelling from the rooftops for us.
Awesome.
It's really hard to be really simple.
Yeah.
When you see this logo, that's what they put on absolutely everything. It's simple, but it's hard to stay that consistent. And then the best brands, you feel like you're their friend. It's not a business. You're friends with them. You're friends with the people. So. I mean, that's huge, just figuring out how to create, OGL, that's my friend, as opposed to that's a business, that's a restaurant.
Yeah, true. No, absolutely. I mean, that's maybe
and personality, that's just, you got to showcase personality in the brand.
Yeah, big time. And I think a lot of people are afraid to, especially if they are the brand, like if they're a service provider or something, like they're nervous to show themselves on camera or whatever, but that's the game. You got
to be out there. For any successful brand, you got to be out there.
What comes first? The brand idea, or the cuisine, or the design?
It's funny how, and I think we've had these conversations so many times along this process, it's funny how things sort of congeal and mesh together when you least expect it. So, we pass along and spitball ideas for a menu, and we go out to Venice and find this wicked spot, and we take the menu home and dissect it and digest it.
That was my next question. So you just steal the menu
literally and physically, and then after that we, go back and spitball some ideas on paper, and I'll write a mock menu. I'll show it to him and be like, oh, well, this is cool, but I had this down in New York. We should try this on the menu.
Okay.
But at the same point in time, those same conversations are happening alongside the ones that are like, hey, dude, what do you think about this idea for a logo? What do you think about this idea for branding? What do you think about this color palette? What do you think about... So those things sort of... as soon as you think one is influencing the other one catches up and starts to move a little bit further past, and then it sort of inches to... us cutting the tape and opening the doors, really. That's my best description of it.
When you guys were talking about doing this, was there... a lot of people get to a bottleneck, and then they just go, screw it, I'm done. At what point did you guys decide, was it right from the get-go, you're like, we are going to see this through and open it? Or were there points where you were kind of like, I don't know if this is going to go, or we're having this issue, maybe this isn't the right time? Anything that occurred along the timeline where you... You know what I mean? Because a lot of people just, it's not because they're necessarily lazy, but it gets hard, and then some people, rightly or wrongly, say, you know what, maybe we got to take a step back, and it's not the right time. What was it like for this process? Or were you like, day one, we're opening the doors?
No, entrepreneurship will teach anyone patience.
Okay.
It's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. And I'm someone who likes to move forward quick.
Okay.
I like to get things done. I like to execute. Okay. And with each business I involve myself in, I realize more and more how patience is a virtue, and you have to be patient. And we wanted to do something, but I mean, it was a year in the making of going around, collecting things, figuring out what it was, figuring out if it was going to work in Syracuse, figuring out the brand, figuring out the right space. So
how do you square that? I mean, do you guys knew you were going to be in Armory Square? Was that a deal breaker if you weren't going to be in Armory Square?
No, I mean, we'd looked at so many, we had 2 different locations on the radar that were, close enough to Armory Square where it could be sort of, considered it, but ones that were vastly different from the space that we're in now. And again, like Eric said, patience sort of played out in that we, waited long enough, the right sort of stars aligned, and then voila,
One of the other things that I'm really curious about is pre-launch. So were you guys building up buzz a lot before you even opened the doors?
Yes.
Totally.
And if you had to give someone a couple of tips on, what's the biggest bang for your buck that worked for you guys? And I know social's probably the thing.
Instagram.
Instagram, right? Probably biggest bang for the buck.
Instagram is by far the biggest bang for your buck, and we built up a sizable Instagram following before opening, and we did it in a way that it not only got people excited, but also seemed somewhat exclusive. Like you're, follow us and you'll be in the know of, things that we're going to be doing, but also like a little secretive of not telling people exactly when we were going to open and just like showing sneak peeks. So you want to leave room for people to like say, oh, I wonder what that's going to be like. Yeah.
How far out from opening did you kind of start laying those breadcrumbs? I mean, 3 months, 6 months, 6 weeks?
Probably 3 months or so. A lot of it was just in travels, taking pictures of, the food items that, is basically selling vaporware. This is what we're going to be.
Yeah, totally.
This is what we're going to be serving at OG.
Yeah.
But, that created excitement. It was needed in Syracuse. People wanted to, experience food that we don't have there now and, eat healthy. So.
How do you, a couple more quick things, and I promise I won't keep you guys much longer. I know you got dinner. Number one, one of the biggest bottlenecks I work with people on is financing. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to get going, how do you address that? I mean, do you have to find a partner that can help address that? Are you big on bootstrapping? Do you have any opinions on what the best course of action is for a first-time entrepreneur getting something started?
I'm big on bootstrapping for a first-time entrepreneur. Once you've proven yourself, once you have, a successful track record, then, it's certainly easier to raise money, and also it's easier to raise money giving away less equity. Okay. But as a first-time entrepreneur, I think bootstrapping is it's the very best way to do it. Because you're going to give up the least amount of equity, and B, you're playing with your own money and time, so you're going to be very focused on making doing your best to make sure that it succeeds. Whereas if you're playing with someone else's money, it's not quite as painful if you lose it.
That's true.
Depending on whose money it is.
Unless you're the investor. Right? Yeah. What are you guys working on? What's next? Where can people find you online?
Originalgrainsters.com. Check out the website. Obviously, social media at Original Grainsters. We're looking to do some more things with OG.
Awesome.
So we got chia seed pudding, which we're going to sort of like private label, retail, brand up and start selling in some local cafes in Syracuse. Looking at some other spots to maybe do some dancing and
nice.
poke bowl building and high fiving, and
we built it from the start to be a brand, so we definitely want to scale up.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thanks for coming down. I appreciate it really for just throwing you guys on the couch and just.
No worries.
Can I roll the camera and see what happens? But this is really useful. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.